Welcome, everyone, to today's show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your producer and empowerment strategist. Thank you for downloading today's episode. If you're in the States, happy belated 4th of July, Independence Day. I thought today's episode was a perfect complement to the energy around freedom. It's a very special episode. You'll hear about that very shortly. But in also the celebration of freedom, it makes me wonder how many of you feel like you would like more emotional freedom, or even more financial freedom, or more health freedom. If this is you and you are contemplating coming to the Manifestation Bootcamp, my only live event in 2021, I'm having a flash sale for those of you that are not connected with me on Instagram or somehow on my email newsletter. Today is the last day for this flash sale, and you can get $200 off your ticket to come to the bootcamp and join us live in person in October by using the code HAPPY4TH, HAPPY4TH, all capital, Happy 4th at checkout when you go to jjflazanes.com/bootcamp. If you did not write that down, and you get to the end of today's episode and you're inspired, please come back to the beginning of today's episode to get that coupon code. The link for the bootcamp is in the show notes. I hope you enjoy today's very special episode. Welcome, everyone, to today's show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your producer and empowerment strategist. Thank you for downloading today's episode. So I don't know if you can hear sound quality difference or not, but I'm sitting in my living room with a nice high ceiling and with a different microphone. But we're recording a very special podcast today. The title of today's show is Why We Don't Allow. And I thought it was appropriate because of some of the things that have been on the show recently, where we're talking about manifestation and law of attraction and the law of attraction mastery course and the bootcamp and the wish beads and how I manifested my dream home. And, we talk about what to do, but we don't talk a lot about what some of the habits that we have, the beliefs that we have that don't allow us to allow more in that. So those upper limiting beliefs, or those, again, the way we look at the world. And what's really special about today's episode is I'm recording this live with 3 of my empowerment strategist beta trainers. And I know you've heard most of them on the show already, where we did our 300th episode for Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. And we celebrated that by looking at the growth, my growth, the show growth, their growth, just expanding and celebrating growth in general, of looking back at years or learning and teaching and what that means to you, and to be able to really just celebrate that, because we too often are just always focused forward on what we want, of course, which is great. But if we're not stopping to embody the growth we've had and celebrate that, then we're actually never being, and we're not in our bodies. And so this weekend was the retreat weekend for the Empowerment Strategist Beta certification. And again, we have a smaller group then because of the things going on in the world. We weren't able to have everybody here. But one of the things that's come up today, when I thought, let's record a show and let's put it out there. And what are some of the things that we have all experienced and learned, or ideas, inspirations, clarity, manifestations even? We're going to talk to you today about a lot of manifestations that we had this weekend that were pretty fucking cool. And we didn't try. We didn't say, I'm going to get this or I'm going to get that. And it just sort of happened. And it was sort of that power of the collective and the commitment that we made to do this weekend a little differently. I started this beta certification and said beta as the way to say, I don't know what I'm doing. So you're all on for this ride where JJ's going to figure it out as we're going to go. We're going to build the plane as we fly it, because I don't know where to start. I don't know how effective this is going to be. I don't know what any of this means yet, because I haven't done it. And I don't know how people can think they're going to have something figured out before you try it and test it on people. And so I appreciate today that I'm going to be introducing you to 2 of the Empowerment Strategist trainers that you've already met before. And then the one that was missing, we have Brittany. And so I'm going to go around just let's introduce who's here, and go ahead and say your name. And Brittany, I want you to talk a little bit longer because you missed the 300th episode, but I want you to tell people a little bit about yourself, where you're from and what you do. And of course, I want you to tell them about your podcasts too.
Thank you, JJ. I love this topic, this introduction. I am so sad that I missed the first Empowerment Strategist, the 300th episode. So I'm Brittany Desadier, and I am from Caldwell, Texas, and I coined myself as an intuitive financial strategist. So I help women get out of their own way and get into the next level through business, but by getting to the next level, I help women allow themselves to grow and get to the next level and clear those energetic blocks that are keeping them small and help them less doing and more being, and to be that next person, to embody the person where they're trying to go, just like you said, on the journey, constantly going and trying to claw to get to the next level in the masculine form, and more being present and allowing and enjoying every single moment, which is exactly what we've done here this entire weekend. And like JJ said, all these crazy manifestations have been coming through, and it's so cool. And every time we all look and we acknowledge and we smile at each other like, yep, we called that. We manifested that. And it's like one thing after another. And it's been so enjoyable coming into this weekend and letting our guards down, all of us, and just being and allowing the flow. And in all these small little pockets of time, there's been crying, there's been breakthroughs, there's been learning, there's been encouragement, and embodying it all and enjoying it all in the moment. And then there's like pockets of inspiration and the masculine drive and future planning with each other. So yeah, it's been awesome.
The question I asked everybody in the other show, if you want to share sort of why you joined this group, like why did you decide to do the certification?
The Empowerment Strategist certification popped out to me. It was, one, the right timing in my coaching on wanting to go deeper, and to go deeper with clients, I need to go deeper with myself as well. And how you worded that in this group, saying, I need you to go through the work to do this. That spoke to me really strongly, and to help on a deeper level besides just growing businesses. I know that you get to a certain point and you got to lean into my upper limit myself. You got to go in deeper and follow the through line and help clients get there. And this was exactly what I needed, more empowerment for myself to empower more women.
So in case anyone hears jingling in the background, like I said, we're in my living room. So you're going to hear Domino and Luna and possibly Sugar in the background, which is totally cool because, again, this is about being real and bringing you sort of live. Like, I hope everybody knows that when I do a show, when I do a video, when I do an event, when I do anything, like I'm me all the time. There is no, we're going to do a show, I'm going to turn me on. I'm going to be this whole other person that I am not normally, and like lie and just be inauthentic. So anyway, so you're going to hear that kind of stuff. And I think one of the things that I wanted to say to Brittany, I don't know if I said this to you ever, but I was like, her application was the best one because of what you just said. It was the best one because it was, you were already coaching and you literally said, hey, I want to up level my own coaching. And to do that, I have to up level myself. I'm like, yes, that's exactly like the through line of, and even when I put it out into the universe to say, hey, who wants to do what I do? I wasn't sure what I was going to get. I wasn't sure if I was going to get people who said, well, and I did get people that say, well, I already do kind of what you do. Well, then why do you need me? If you think you already do what I do, that's cool. And I had to say, hey, we're going to go through this because I'm not teaching something I haven't gone through. I have very vulnerably personal experience with every single tool that I want to share to others because it's made a profound effect on me and I consider it something of value to others to try. And that's where we're going to start. But I can't trust somebody to teach it if you haven't experienced it and you haven't embodied it. Because again, it may not even work for you guys. There might be something you're like, well, I don't know. This didn't really give me the same responses it gave you. So therefore, maybe you don't have the same attachment and maybe it's not right for said client. But at least to go through the experience creates, again, that idea of I know what it's like. So anyway, so I appreciate that.
You cannot fully create that transformation for another client without going through it and dropping in and embodying it and feeling it all. Like I feel like that's really what separates the saturation of coaches right now are the ones that are going through it and doing the work with you and right above you. Just like you, JJ, you've been a shining example for me for years. You are above me. To surround myself with you, I knew that you had something that you could teach me as a younger coach that I could then pass on to my clients. Like it's all in steps. And speaking real quick, you said that this is very raw and you've got Luna and kitties running around. She also fed us an amazing meal sitting outside on the porch, a beautiful night, 8 p.m., and then brings out the microphone. So we are all full bellied, relaxed, sitting in the living room. I love it all. It's also raw and it's so real.
And it's so unlike the perfection of your Virgo moon who wanted to do this at 8 o'clock in the morning because you thought you'd be sharper. or?
I do. Yes. So this is pulling me out of my comfort zone very much so, because I do like some notes. That's the masculine in me. I like some notes as a guide, like to be fire, full coffee and ready to go, full energy. So this is totally out of my norm, and it's relaxed, and it goes in theme with the weekend, all in flow, allowing.
Absolutely, which we're going to talk about next. And I want you, before we pass the mic to Patti, for you just to tell everybody you have a podcast. So tell everybody about that.
Yes, absolutely. So one podcast is live. It's Aligned Grind, and it's helping women grow through spirituality and in business simultaneously. So we focus a lot on personal growth. See, there's my words because it's 8:00, JJ. Personal growth along with good business strategy and teaching that side by side. And then my husband and I, it is not launched yet, and that is no cuffs, no qualms, no problems. So that I'm super excited about. Please look out for that, hopefully in the next month, where we're working on relationship growth. We got parenting. We're talking our businesses in there and just having a kick time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pass the mic to Patti, please. Patti, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, again, just remind everybody who you are, where you live, and what you do currently.
I am Patti Woods, and I live in Tonto Basin, Arizona, as of just recently. And I am in between. I'm growing out of a executive assistant position and excited to start coaching as a profession. I've been doing it for a long time as a friend and coworker and sister. But I'm looking forward to learning all the tools and, like Brittany said, using them on myself before I can share those tools with other people.
Great. Okay. And let's bring Erin back on.
Hello.
Erin, tell everybody who you are, what you do.
I'm Erin Hall, and I live in Sacramento, California, and I am a brand strategist. So I help beauty, health and wellness and lifestyle brands create beautiful websites and branding they feel proud of and attract more aligned clients.
So we're going to keep you with the mic, Erin, and then we're going to go backwards this way. So let's talk about today's topic. And again, keep in mind, we all have been talking for 3 days nonstop, and I'm even a little hoarse myself from talking so much. But the topic of today, why we don't allow. One of the things that we have sort of reveled in this weekend, and let me set the stage for you. So here I am, and I'm having these guys come in, and I have no agenda. I'll be perfectly honest, because we don't have the whole group. That kind of made it feel a little unfair. I didn't want to teach sort of new things. And again, first time doing this, first time in person. And we all are a part in the group. In the group, we do a Marco Polo. And the Marco Polo, which is an app and it's video, and we're all in this group. And so we talk to each other a lot. And so I'm hearing like where everybody is a lot in terms of their business, in terms of their stress levels, what have you. And my own stress levels, I've just moved. I still have a whole shit ton of boxes that haven't been unpacked. And there was construction happening literally like hours before you came. And so I'm in this, and you may be thinking out there, well, JJ, why did you schedule it like this? Well, I scheduled it before I bought a house. And so it's kind of how it all happened. And I didn't want to push it because this is life, like managing life. And so I didn't want to say there's a perfect time for things. I'm not waiting for a perfect time. The perfect time is now. I'm just going to figure out how I need to do my life to create space for this, which was perfect. Doug is away and I have the house to myself, and I got prepared in the ways that I needed to. And I think I've done a pretty good job of not being overly stressed or tired or spent. And I still had things to give and to be and hold a space for you guys. You can correct me if I'm wrong, where some people like burn it all out and then they're supposed to give more and they have nothing to give. Hopefully I have had things to give. I'm meant to be able to, again, hold the space. So we're on this polos, and it's like literally like 2 days before everyone's supposed to come in. And I'm hearing how stressed and overworked everybody is, and including myself. And I thought this intuitive hit of, what if we just flow? What if we just come in and, I moved to Ojai. One of the reasons I moved to Ojai is because the ability to relax and center and ground and allow and to flow is a lot higher here, because there's a lot more feminine spiritual energy here than, let's say, a city. And that's my relationship to Ojai. And I haven't even been able to like fully live that since I've moved here either, between all the things going on. So when I said to myself, what if we just do all the fun things? Like, I just really wanted to do the fun things with you, because I wanted you to have the experience of why I moved here, and the experience of why I kept coming here for 21 years, the experience of when I was depleted in LA, I came up for the weekend to recharge in Ojai. And I just kept getting this message of like, everyone needs to recharge, including you. So I had a lot of guilt about that. I thought, oh my God, but I'm hosting this retreat. It's part of their program. I think I'm supposed to be doing something with them. Like I'm supposed to be taking them through a process. It's supposed to be structured. They paid for this. I'm supposed to be showing up in a very specific way that makes sense. And then I like, yeah, but that's not what they need. And I've done enough events where I'm winging it anyway, where I have a structure and then I go, that's not what they're needing. And I just felt into it. And I said, hey guys, what do you think about? I pulled these guys into a separate polo and said, what do you think about us just flowing? What if we just stop masculine energy and replenish your energy? What if we do a kombucha tasting and have a reflexology appointment and go hiking and detach a little from social media and just not have a schedule? How do you feel about that? And they were like, yes to that, and yes to that, and yes to that, and yes to that. And all three of them said the same thing. That sounds great. That sounds amazing. Oh my God, yes. Domino's shaking her head yes to. And so that's what we did. And it was, well, I'm not going to tell you what it, because we're going to tell you what it is. But that's what got set up. And so here I am as someone who, while I'm extremely structured in some ways, I've just been feeling this pull of we all need, every single woman here, while we are feminine and we appreciate, understand, and embody and want to embody more feminine energy, we're still all hard workers who really want to get shit done. So there's still a lot of masculine energy of doing. And I felt like for me, it's imbalanced. And I feel like it's probably imbalanced for a lot of really high-powered, smart, powerful women. And you can't teach this without being it. And in order to teach it to someone, you have to experience it. So I thought, okay, well, that's what we're going to do here. So with that said, this episode is called Why We Don't Allow, because it's really, and it was for me anyway, stepping into this. I have no agenda for you. I don't have handouts for you. I don't have a time frame where you have a break. And it's not, here's where we start. Here's where we stop. Here's where lunch is. Here's where your breaks are. Because this is what I do at events all the time. But I didn't do that because I was like, I think I'm just going to let go and trust and allow everybody to, like, we'll discuss things, we'll make appointments where needed, but otherwise I don't want to stick to a schedule. So for me, and then I'm going to ask you guys how that was for you and how that challenged or didn't challenge, or how that clarified or didn't clarify anything for you in this why you don't allow. Right. And we did a process at the top of the mountain after our hike, which again, I made up as I was going along, but which came to about releasing things and then stepping into things. And so for me, why I don't allow, or I haven't allowed like this, is because I have based my value on performance and on delivering something. So being effective and being able to to track that effectiveness, to see it, or to get a confirmation verbally, or to, if it's business, to see that you are making more money or whatever. It's always about that whatever I'm doing has a direct effect on the people that I'm working with and that are investing in themselves and investing in whatever I'm offering. I want to see concrete, some kind of something. And so, which means, and I know this, which is why I'm sharing this with all of you and why we're having this podcast on all the channels, because that doesn't allow trust. And that doesn't allow inspiration. And that doesn't allow being guided. And the reason is because what are the consequence for not having something happen? Well, the consequence is, like, the scary side, shadow side of that is, if they don't feel like they've gotten their money's worth, they won't invest again. If I don't deliver on what even though, again, beta kind of gave me a little freedom, but I was like, my cop outs, it's beta. Hey, it's beta. Hey, it's beta. But if I don't deliver on this, then my reputation, and maybe you won't listen to the show anymore, and maybe you won't trust me. And then I won't have what I have, which is a really awesome momentum in my business. So for me, the lack of trust that I'm enough and that I will know without over planning or being overly masculine, that because I trust myself with myself, but I haven't been trusting just source and my intuition to deliver for people in a structured event. One-on-one, totally. Yeah. You guys all have coached with me. It's pretty loose. It's pretty in the moment. It's pretty intuitive. But my events are pretty structured with, we're going to work on this and we're going to work on that. And here's some paperwork and here's some handouts. And that has not been this weekend at all. And this is probably the first time that I took, and I even said, hey, is this a cop-out? Is this a cop-out because, and it's not, and I kept checking in with myself. Is it because I don't want to do it? I just kept waiting for inspiration about what to do, and nothing else was coming except everyone needs to replenish. This is why I moved here, and this is what this place offers. Replenishment, attunement, tuning back into feminine energy, allowing. So for me, it was definitely the fear of not being enough, as well as the fear of not getting results for you and having your experience not be the one that you wanted. So I know that was a lot, and you don't have to follow any of that. What is coming up for you, Erin, about this topic?
Yeah, when I got that Marco and you said, hey, what do you ladies think about just going with the flow? It was like, oh, yes, that sounds so perfect. And it was just so nice to hear that from you and that suggestion. And I really, even prior to you saying that, I had even told my boyfriend, I said, I'm just going into this weekend. I know I'm going to get what I need to get. Like I can be such a planner and like, oh, when I go, I want to process this and I want to bring up this and think of everything that I want to dive into. And I really came saying, what is supposed to come up is going to come up and in the right timing. And so that felt really freeing and removed the pressure of time or results of what was going to be coming out of the weekend. So I was looking forward to that. Also, I realized how much it was for me kind of a manifestation of Ojai. For years, it was like, oh, I always want to go to Ojai, and how I realized when I was with you in the market of, oh my gosh, I'm in Ojai right now. And this was something I wanted on my list. I wasn't overly trying to make it happen. And here it happens and you move here. So that was really exciting to realize that manifestation and get to just experience the whole energy here and to be with the ladies and to allow myself, I think one of the biggest things that came for me when we were up on the rock on our hike was this idea that to need help or to be needy, I had really judged that. And so even kind of that part of like, oh, I'm going to come and get everything I can from it. And it's going to be all about me and my work and my effort and what I put into it, of just the allowing and even the just being. I think that was one of my things of that I'm free to just be, that I release this need to perform. I release this need to do it all myself and to really honor that desire for help and to not judge it. And so I think there was a lot of me coming into this weekend of like no judgment on anything of where I was. And I'll be honest with you, there's been some times where it's like, oh, am I sleeping too late? And are they wanting to do something and get up? Or, oh, should I, there's been those times and it's like, okay, this is like, you're getting stretched to just relax into that. And so I think it's been really nice and comfortable. That's been the biggest thing. That's like, I think we kind of started talking about it in the car, but how actually when you rest into the feminine, how much does get done. Like I feel like stuff happened this weekend that probably wouldn't have happened if it was scheduled of like, oh, during this time, we're going to do this processing. And during this time, we're going to do this. I think the organic nature and flow of it has been really beautiful to experience and to allow and to just let it flow. And, that really is at the core of law of attraction, of this trusting of everything is always working out for me and it's going to happen. And the less resistance I have of like, oh, I have to get there. Even on the hike, I've had some major sinus issues and pain in my heel. And so I was way behind the pack up the hill and down the hill. And JJ and I we're talking a little bit before, but about of like just being okay with where you are in the journey. And so as I was judging myself for not being up with the rest of them or getting up the hill faster, it was like, okay, nope, this is where you're at. It's not about getting up there. It's like each step I started looking at the different types of plants that were around me, even like the little textures and footprints in the ground. And so for me, that was a stretch because you're just like, okay, how can I get there faster? What can I be doing? What can I be doing? What am I not doing? And it's really been a time to just like let it all go.
So what would you think? And I heard you, and again, we've all been talking. So I want it for the people that are listening who haven't been with us all weekend, if you had to pinpoint why you don't allow, like what has stopped you from allowing more? And I know you talked about what you released, so let's bring it back to I haven't allowed more because...
I haven't allowed more because I think there's this judgment that I have to be producing and be productive and be performing, and like that equates to the value. So who am I if I'm not doing all of those things? And I haven't allowed because I've judged being needy or asking for help or just allowing myself to be where I'm at in the process, this constant. I mean, it really resonates with me, what you said too, of this like needing the validation of whether it's coaching my clients or helping my clients, that detaching from the outcome of others around me or responses of others and knowing that I'm okay. I put in mind. And just this, I think this idea that the harder I work, the quicker I'm going to get there. And it's not about the effort. It's in the allowing and trusting that process. And every step along the way that comes into it has probably been my big, because in my life, I have been rewarded as a performer and producing and getting like that's had value for me. Like I get that accolades. I get the good job. I get the all of that, but taking all of that on and putting my identity in it has limited me from, I think, truly the expansion of allowing the feminine to bring that in, especially as a creative. All the more it's, like for me, that's where I really get my downloads. That's where I get my energy. And it isn't this like go, go, go. So I think part of it has been the judgment of what does doing nothing say about me is a very big part of it. And then also, I think the judgment of needing help or asking for help, and that's what's been so awesome about this community is the vulnerability of everybody, the honesty, and how beautiful it's been in moments that all of us have tapped into things and dropped into some serious emotions. Just like Brittany was saying, you can only help people on the level you've gone to. So if we can't go to those deeper levels, there's no way we're going to be able to guide our clients and coaching them into those deeper spots. So it's been really beautiful to experience and hold space and that safety. And this is just part of the process. And yeah, it may be ugly at times, but it's also beautiful and it's so rewarding. And it's a lot of fun to be in the flow, like all the things that have happened, which I'm sure we will talk more about all the fun manifestations, but it's just been so cool to be like, yep. I mean, like I said today, I'm like, that's how we roll. Like everywhere we went, it was just like, yep. I'm not surprised, not surprised, not surprised.
Right.
And I that's where I think law of attraction is just so fun is when you start going, like, yep, I just expect these things to work out. And that doesn't mean, and even in the contrast to me physically, things that are going on or different stuff, it's like, even in that, it's like, oh, this is serving such a great purpose. Or even the stuff processing this morning, like I chose this and how is this like guiding me into a bigger expansion in my life and deeper joy. And I want to share that with other people. So
awesome. Yeah. And now I'm going to talk about the contrast that we had today, which led to the second or third or fifth manifestation. But anyway, there was contrast. It wasn't all just, so what flow looked like was flowing with the contrast, was saying, okay, and now what? Versus, oh no, it didn't work out. Let's give up. We did something wrong. And we'll talk about that. So let's move the mic to Patti. And Patti, welcome back again. What do you have to say to this conversation, Patti?
I have to say that I have to allow right now to let the words flow because I agree with so much of what Erin was just saying. But I think that when we were planning this trip and I didn't have any expectations, and I kind of roll with the flow a lot. Like we've talked a lot about how we're different personalities and I'm not the planner. So I was comfortable with not having a plan. But the problem I have is letting myself enjoy, and the thought of doing nothing, like Erin was saying, is a tough one for me because I feel like I need to contribute, and it is that, what am I doing? And as far as taking away and having people cover responsibilities for me for the weekend, and knowing that my husband was working all weekend, it was a little bit of a, he's like, go, enjoy, have fun. And that's hard for me sometimes. I don't allow because there's guilt that I feel, and I need to let that go and accept nourishing myself, which I think is the word I was feeling the most right now is I feel nourished right now. So yes, allowing for the flow and feeling that. And like I've told you guys, some of me allowing for things to happen and just saying, I know it's going to be okay, are some of the very best things that have happened in my life. So once again, I proved it to myself that just being there and letting it happen is the best way to go.
Awesome. I love that word. And that was the goal, nourishing. And I didn't use that word, but that's exactly what the feminine energy is. It's nourishing. But how many of us aren't nourishing ourselves? Or nourishing ourselves to the degree that we need to. So one of the things that I reflected on last night or this morning, I don't know, it's all blending together, was the power of just women coming together, period. That's it. Women coming together without distractions, without structure, and just allowing that feminine power and aliveness and nourishment to just, it's like you can't force You can't force a seed to grow into a tree tomorrow. It has to take time. It has to be nourished. You can't force a sperm and an egg to get together and make a baby tomorrow. It takes time to be created. And the power of the allowing of the space, right? Versus like, so we're either doing or we're being, and we can't receive if we're in the doing necessarily. We have to allow the space for it to come to us. It's like meditating in prayer, right? Like, so prayer, you ask for it, meditating gives it to you. So if you're asking for the answer, but you're not holding the space to receive it by stopping and slowing down, then we're always asking and wondering why we're not receiving, because we're not in the frequency to receive it, because we're always overdoing it. So I love that you said that word nourishment, and and the guilt, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't take action. I'm sure a lot of you who are listening right now have wanted to do things with us before, but haven't, because you have guilt for spending money, guilt for taking time away from your family, guilt of focusing on yourself. And that is for your journey to allow yourself to hopefully meet that and accept that and grow through that and understand that that only holds you small and holds you back. But we're all going to learn our lessons in our due time. But I think to bring up the guilt is really important, because I know lots of women feel guilty. We were talking about that in the car. Aaron asked a question today. Is it just moms that have this thing about guilt? The way that I heard it and the way that I'm applying it right now is that a lot of people, especially when you're so excited about being a mom and that's such a goal that you have, or you are a very dedicated mom, can lose yourself because you think to be a good mom, you have to lose yourself. That you're supposed to 100% every day be about your children. And you lose yourself because you forget that they're looking to you as the example of how to be separately from them. And most of us react out of what we didn't get. So of course we want to make up for, well, this didn't happen with my parents, so I'm going to give you what I didn't get. But I think, again, we're moving from one extreme to the other, and we're trying to find our way back into balance. I can't tell you how many women, it's all the time with past clients and people that I've met, women around the, let's say, 47 to 59 or 60, when their kids leave the home, and all of a sudden they're going, who am I now? And what am I going to do for the rest of my life? Oh, maybe I'll go buy a home. I'll go distract myself over here. Or I need a project. Or I'm feeling a depression and a strange, more than just empty nest. It's, I don't know who I am if I'm not your mother, or if I'm not serving you, or if I'm not serving my husband, or if I'm not doing something. And the point of the feminine energy, everyone, and you guys that are out there who are still listening, like you have it too. There is that feminine energy in all people, in men and women, just like we have masculine, you have feminine. And that is the balance of expression, the balance of life, the balance of creation, that if you want to receive, you have to give space to be in the space to receive. And it's not in the masculine, it's in the feminine. So nourishment is an awesome word.
I was going to say that the comment was made, I don't know what I want. And I think so much of the feminine is that intuition, and that intuition. When we get in that flow, that is where the guidance comes in of, what do I want? What am I needing? Where am I at in any given moment? And what does that look like to tap into that more, versus I'm following a structure, I'm being productive, I'm getting things done, like do, which has its purpose and its place and its time. But one of the times to stop and say, no, maybe right now I need to be doing this, and how we have to create that relationship to know what that is, to be able to hear that voice and to heed that voice and to take action on that feminine intuition of what we do want.
I hope this example makes sense, but it came to me. I use it often with sort of the understanding of a law of attraction and manifestation of the surfer. Like, so you're a surfer, and even if you've never surfed before, I actually haven't surfed before. Imagine paddling out there and you want to surf. Are you going to get mad at the ocean if the ocean isn't producing waves? You're like literally there just sort of waiting to, maybe you'll be disappointed you didn't get a wave, but even when the waves are coming, you still have to be in alignment to catch the wave. And it's a magical moment that happens when it does, but it doesn't always happen, which is why they keep coming back, because they're looking to have that magical moment over and over again. And it doesn't happen on every wave. And there's not anything you can really do to get the magical moment. It's not a structure. It's a feeling. It's a sensation. It's an intuition. And even Erin and I were talking, she is also in the Inner Circle Mastermind, and we had her VIP day before Brittany and Patti joined us. And one of the things that we were talking about on my side was, I have ideas about things I want to do. I have things that I'm doing right now that I don't know that I want to do anymore. And I don't know what it's going to look like. And now I'm sitting in a space where the things that I've been doing are working to a level which provide me some freedom, flexibility, and abundance. So I sit in a space of allowing and being okay with waiting for an answer. It's not the right time for me to know what this is. I pulled one of our goddess cards or angel cards, tarot cards the other day, and it said cycles and rhythms. That's what I pulled on the mountain. And part of the cycle and rhythm is that you're always not going to know. And so when someone says, well, I don't know what I want. Okay, cool. Awesome. So then this is your time to just tap in and follow your guidance, follow your intuition until you get clarity. And then in that case where there's contrast, that helps you go, oh, well, I know what I don't want. That's going to move me closer to what I do want. So those of you that are out there thinking, well, contrast pisses me off. It feels like it's wrong. It feels like it's bad. Well, that's one way to look at it. It's not going to help you. But to say, hey, this is what's clarifying for me. This is what's giving me information. And if you don't try it or follow the intuition, then you're not helping yourself discover the clarity and the point. So is there anything left, Patti, about this that resonates with you or that you want to share about for anyone who's listening or just for yourself about the allowing part and why either you haven't allowed certain things? Because everyone out there, you can think you're the most spiritual person in the world. Everyone grows and you are not allowing in some ways. That's what the whole expansion process is about.
I would say that I was curious because I have never met any of you. So spending a weekend with 3 strangers. I mean, I know you just from the Marco Polos, but there's that, will we connect? Will we bond? Is this going to be weird? I mean, I'm rooming with Brittany and we don't know each other and she's much younger than me. And will we have things in common? And wow, I feel like I've known you guys my whole life. I feel like this was hanging out with 3 friends that I've forever. It was just this level of these are the ways we're different. These are the ways we're same. These are the ways we connect. And all of it was this full understanding and full acceptance that was just beautiful and also nourishing.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Brittany, I saw you taking notes. I gave your Virgo moon some time to get some structure.
Damn it.
So lay it on me.
And no, they weren't notes. It's now nearly 9 p.m. and I need to remember a couple things because I don't want to repeat too much. So thank you for noticing that. And I jotted down because the feminine wants to be filled up. We crave to be refilled. And that's my tail sign when I'm on the verge of burnout and just overexhaustion, stress, I've gone too far. So when you came up with the idea to just be this weekend and to flow, it's fill up. And nourishing is a great, another great word. I needed to be filled up. And that to me is connection, getting in a room, especially I didn't care if I didn't know you guys. I knew this is exactly what I needed because this stuff that we were going to pull out of each other. It's getting in a room with this level of women is what my body and soul crave when I'm depleted. I need to be filled up with that connection, that growth, the love, allowing, receiving, getting to receive every damn bit of it, down to a parking spot that we receive, the free salt room that we receive, just receiving it all and being in the joy of it all and in the flow of it all in turn grows everything else around me, gets me back into the healthy masculine drive, not the burnout exhaustion. And for me, that is my pattern of my up level. That's my limit. I create the busyness so I don't have to lean into that because I know that I'm on the verge of another level, another step of growth. And that is oh shit, how can I get busy? What can I tie in here to not immerse myself and allow myself to expand? Because if I'm too busy to do so, then I have all the excuses in the world. I'm a professional excuse maker in form of busyness, and I put my worth in being busy. So that for me is what I wanted to release on the mountain is the justification of all this other things that are not as important to me, to not lean into what I really need to be, to embody the next version of myself, to hold more space for more clients, for a higher level of clients. And also allowing myself to be me, I believe was mine, to be seen and not fear the rejection of this new me, of coming out of the closet, for example. I did scream, but a loud Brittany version on top of the mountain with our arms open, I am free to be me. And that felt really fucking good. Can I cuss on this?
Of course.
You can edit that out.
Yeah.
Geez Louise. But
didn't you hear me say fucking shit already? Didn't I say those 2 words?
I was just oh shoot, I was making sure. It felt good in the moment. And I don't think that would have rung for me if we would have came into structure and learning, because I didn't have any more capacity. I didn't have any room. I was done. I was burnt out. I was tapped, and I was a little concerned about that. And I kept like, I just need to go home and sleep because I need to have my brain open. I'm ready to absorb. And man, what a relief when we decided just to go into flow.
It's funny. So you started to name some of the manifestations. So, all right. So again, we have no structure, and Brittany and Patti get up at ungodly early hours. Part of it's Brittany's on a different time zone. Patti has no excuse. I'm kidding. And so Aaron and I sleep in a little bit later. And, and even I agree, Aaron, even I was like waiting for you. You've been sleeping in later than me. And this morning when you got up, I was like, oh, shit, I got to get out of bed. She's up. I got to get up. I got to start being. I was like, no, hold on. Just take a deep breath. Stay here for a couple of minutes. She's an adult. She can go handle herself, because I didn't put any boundaries. I didn't put any set times. And again, and I also let go of that. I didn't really stress out about it, but it wasn't, there's another level of flow we can go to with just a little bit of structure. Like, we're not doing anything until 10 a.m., which is normally my MO. Like, you guys are on your own. You're free till 10 a.m. Like, I can see how now I can make this a little bit even freer with just a tiny bit of structure. And so I appreciated that now when you were mentioning the mountain, we went on a hike and I took some tarot cards and I took the sprays. For those of you that don't know, healingcrystal.com. We use healing crystals, clearing spray, and rose spray. And we did a whole process that I made up on the spot, and we took some pictures, and we have Kelly's Let Them Shine Healing Hands and Crystals. We had Kelly's crystals because Aaron brought them, and we had laid out a little crystal, what would you call that, Aaron? A little crystal grid. And then Aaron gave people the crystals she thought went with their issues and the things they were releasing and things they would embody. So like, we literally just made this up. And what I'm now in retrospect thinking about, now it was a Friday, right? It was a Friday here in Ojai in June. First of all, it's normally freaking hot here, and we did not start hiking until 10:45 a.m. and we stayed on the mountain until 1:30. No tree cover, no tents or anything like that. We were in full sun, and we were minus some little bugs that were a little annoying. We were really good, and we didn't really have that many people up there, and that hike can get pretty crowded. We dominated that rock for like hours. And that here in Ojai, when people hike all the time and that whole parking lot is full on the weekends, now in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God, we just had that whole space to ourselves, screaming on the top of the mountain of things that we were releasing and allowing. And we didn't have anybody, like, we didn't have to vie for the area. So that was probably one of the very first manifestations. And then today, I decided that I was feeling into this we went to the Salt Cave in Santa Barbara. And again, I was resisting structure. I'm like, I know me. If I make an appointment for us to go tomorrow, I'm going to get up and I'm going to be stressing about, do we have enough time to get there? When are we going to eat? How much time are we going to go to the beach? And all of a sudden, my brain's going to kick in and I'm not going to be present. And I didn't want to do that. So I said to everybody, is it okay? We're going to get up when we get up. We're going to do what we do. When we leave and go to Santa Barbara, we're going to go straight to the caves and see which one of the hours, because they do it all day long, which one of the hours has space for us to join the cave session. So we get there and they're full until tomorrow. Now, there's the contrast. The contrast is, shit, I should have called and made an appointment earlier. Well, it sounds like I wouldn't have even gotten in had I called today or yesterday anyway. So all of a sudden, now there's contrast. Damn, we literally drove an hour in this direction just to do this. So now what are we going to do? Well, let's go eat and we can come back. And if someone doesn't show up, then they'll let us in. We're going to trust that it's going to work out and that maybe someone isn't going to show up and there'll be room in the Salt Cave for us. So we eat our lunch, we come back again, and we wait and we tell the gentleman that we want to get in, and he knows we're on a wait list. Well, then he says to me, well, we could put you in our waiting area where the massage rooms are, since the massages aren't going today, and for no charge, and you guys can do this cave session in there. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, in my mind, I heard no extra charge, because we're going to do a cave session. We're just not doing it in the actual cave. We're going to do it in like a little cave that's not quite the same. So I'm thinking, okay, that's perfect. We get our own little room where we're going to be together and do our own little thing. Well, not own little thing, but we're going to do this cave session together. Just us. Nobody weird snoring, sleeping across the room for us, except Aaron. I said nobody weird. So, and then we come out of the Salt Cave and I like go to check out and he says, oh, you're all good. I was like, what? He said, oh yeah, you're all good. So I'm like, oh, he meant no charge at all, period. I was like, oh my God, well, why would he do that? Why would he just charge us? I'm thinking, why would he just charge us? It's only $25. Okay, I accept. I'm like, cool. All right, we just got a cave session for free, like in our own private room, the four of us. How cool was that? It couldn't have worked out better. I mean, except that we'd have gotten the full room for free by ourselves, but that wasn't going to happen. That's so cool. So that was another manifestation. I parked in a parking spot that was a 15-minute parking spot. And I did it just so that we can go to the salt cave and see what was going on. And then as I went back to the car, as they were walking, everyone else was walking to lunch, I got this like distinct intuition that, yeah, they don't care about this on the weekends. All of these cars look like they've been here for like a long time. And so I think I'll be fine. And you know what? If I get a ticket, it's okay. I'm okay with that. So we went to lunch. We went and had our salt cave thing. We got juices. I go back to the car. No ticket. No ticket. What else happened, ladies? What am I missing?
I just wanted to know being in this group, like every single small manifestation that happened, just the celebration and the full receiving of it, it just built on one another. And that's exactly what law of attraction is. It's like by the end of the day, we expected it. Like Erin said, of course we did. Like that's how we roll, like every single thing. And it was so freaking awesome just to be in that frequency. Like there wasn't one person that was concerned when they said they didn't have an opening. We're, it's either not meant to be or we're going to find something better. It's either this or something better. Like we're totally all just getting out of our own way, like just releasing the control, and it just good shit was happening one thing after another. It's expecting, and like how can we transfer that over when we return home and back into business and embodying all the good things that we receive in relationship and business and every little thing into life, and to try to remember that and take home this lesson that we all learned here this weekend, like not to drop it. That's my intention that I want to leave here with, is I remember how good this feels and to appreciate the journey every step of the way, because this growth is hard. Expansion can be difficult, and leaning into those hard things, but knowing on the other side, it's better. It's this or something better. I can either lean in here, do the work, roll up the sleeves, and embody the next better version of ourselves.
Am I safe to say that there's been tears everywhere, right? Everyone's had tears. You had tears?
I don't think I've cried.
Okay.
Don't make me cry.
Okay. Well,
Patty pinched me.
The day is young. The day is not over, and there is tomorrow morning. But there has been some meeting of the next level of, I need this next, or this is something I need to lean into, some awarenesses. So I want you to answer that question, Brittany, and then we're going to send the microphone back down the line. You said how to embody this when I go home, how to not let this go, how to create space for this. So how do you, what do you take away from this as something? And again, this is for all of you that are listening. Two things. One, if you've never given yourself the opportunity, I'm going to pitch the bootcamp right now, because I'm telling you, this is not, it's different, but how it's the same is it's a community of people who you've never met before, that after not too long, you will feel you're intimately connected with, and you will feel the sense of nourishment from meeting them, knowing them, from being seen and heard, and being able to talk and be with people in a new way that you probably don't have in your life all the time. And that is what a live event in my community does for people. So if you have never had this, and you have, because I know Brittany and I were laughing on the hike yesterday about how many times that she heard about a live event and didn't come, but this was the right time for her. So if you're that person, and this is your 6th or 7th time listening to something, and every time you think, I should do that, or I should do that, my question to you is now the right time. I'm not going to do another live open event till next year. I'll do the boot camp most likely again, but I can't even guarantee that because I don't know what I'm doing. So again, this is not a sales pitch. I really don't know what's happening from year to year. You have one opportunity. You may have another one next year, but it would be a year and a half from now. So if you crave that nourishment from people who vibrate out of space higher than you or those you are around, then that would be something to take action on. So if that's something of interest to you, go to jjflizanes.com/bootcamp. The link will be in the show notes. Brittany, how do you take this into your life?
How do I take this? How am I going to take this? For me, this is always like a guidepost. One, I know I'm up-leveling, I'm growing, but I was out of alignment. I was out of my masculine feminine balance alignment because I am growing, so I was swinging too hard for the masculine way. So this is a great reminder for me to go home, and I'm already like noodling, what things have I dropped that I know fill me up, that I have let go and brought in the other busy things to pull me out of my energy, to pull my time away, to not go into this growth spurt. So for me is being intentional on the rituals that I have around ensuring my on-off time. Like I was explaining before this, my friend gave me this beautiful salt lamp, and honestly, I didn't even know really all of the healing benefits of it until today. But I use it as a guidepost for my on-off feminine energy, because when you get, especially as an entrepreneur, in the masculine drive, it's hard to shut it off. And I've learned the hard way as a mother, as a wife, when to shut it down and go into the receiving and allow myself. It's like so this salt lamp, I turn it on when I'm in work mode, and it's giant, and you can open the door and it's like a beacon, mom's working. And when I shut it down, it's not just for my family to know that, okay, work mode's off. It's like kind of it allows myself to drop in and fill up and do those things that I enjoy, and understand that it's not wasting time. It's building differently. It's enjoying every moment, every pocket of time. And then by expanding and filling my cup, it then, like, it sounds so cliche, but it does. It spills over, and it's just gives life to every corner in my business, in my relationship, and being a mom, and being a better friend. And it just goes in all corners. And it starts with understanding that there is a balance. Like, I hate that word, so I guess I shouldn't use it. But I mean, there's a way to do it in flow, and to give myself grace, and to take notice. And yes, in these growth spurts, like, we get knocked back, and you get to burn out, but you get back a lot quicker doing this work. You know your routine, you get back quicker. You get back up, and you get back stronger, and then you keep going, and then you get back into alignment. And you get back a lot quicker when you get in a room with these women and immerse yourself in the weekend. Just like you said, if you haven't been to a group like this and you're considering going to the boot camp, freaking sign up. I promise you, because I, like JJ said, was that person that just like, oh, it's not the right. I would make myself busy and schedule something else, so I had the excuse not to go. And it wasn't the time. I could choose how I spent my time. I am in charge of my own schedule. It was my issue, and it was because I wasn't allowing myself to lean into that growth.
Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the things, and give it to Patti. Go ahead, Patti. In terms of embodying and feminine, for me, what's come up in terms of things I'm thinking of, I don't even have a schedule. Like, I don't have a routine here yet in my house. I have, within 4 weeks of living here, I will have 4 guests. And that's not including Patti and Brittany, who aren't staying at my actual house. If you're included, now we're up to 6 guests. I've had 6 guests in less than a month, or in a month's time of even just moving in. And I still have boxes. So I don't have my routine yet, but one of the things that I thought about today in between things was, besides not having to do it with Doug anymore, like not making him like my partner in getting some things done, was being able to get up in the morning and do meditation right away after I feed the cats, so I can come back into bed and just allow myself that space. Also, what I thought about that I didn't share with you guys that would also get me not only into feminine, it would get me excited, it would get me aligned, it would get my energy flowing, is for me to do a couple salsa songs. And I used to do that, and I got away from it. And you know what's going to happen is I'm going to want to dance, and Doug's going to be like, no, I want to do it too, which is totally fine. But if I don't have to, I can do it with him, I can do it by myself. But it drops me in instantaneously. It brings joy. It's exercise, but forget the exercise. It's like passion and creativity, and it's feminine energy. And that's really, that's why I love salsa dancing. That's why I love teaching it. That's why I love telling people how to do it, because especially as a woman, when you learn to let go and be led, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than being led on a dance floor where you are not in charge. It's not about remembering steps. It's like you literally, it's like butter. I can't explain it if you've never done it, but I would definitely encourage most people to learn. And women who are type A, you need to learn how to be led. So, because then that really helps law of attraction, because then you allow and you feel the freedom, you feel the flow, you feel the amazingness. It's just amazing. Anyway, so I'm going to start salsa dancing in the morning, probably tomorrow. So, Patti, what will you be either doing differently or allowing in or doing more of when you leave after this weekend to allow more in?
Well, I also just moved, and most of my belongings are still in storage while we build. So I need a routine also. And part of that needs to be exercise, because I have not allowed myself that. And I remember, as far as when my kids were first born, which was quite a while ago, joining a gym, not going, trying to get out of the contract because I didn't allow myself that time. I kept telling myself, can't afford it. I can't afford to have them in daycare while I do it. I can't allow that. And I have some really good friends that have been pushing me to receive. And the three of you have also been pointing that out to me. And I think that receiving that time and that doing something really good for my body and building my confidence, because my body image is somewhere that I struggle with the confidence. It's really all part of it. And it just kind of clicked that I need to allow myself to exercise and to take really good care of myself. I think I already eat well, but I have to I need to come up with a routine for that because the town I'm in doesn't have the food I need to eat. So my husband and I are working on that. He's volunteered to get the groceries because he's working out of town. So that is part of the routine I need to set up. And then I also need to let my creative juices flow and do some painting and art and just kind of let that go and see how that looks.
Awesome. So you're committing to doing things. Brittany, you're probably committing to doing less things. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm committing to doing specific things. Yeah. Erin, how about you?
Well, when you said that, a couple things stood out to me, but when I was thinking about the feeling, and one of the greatest things that I learned from you years ago was when I was working on my manifestation boards, and you really talked about how do you want it to feel? Not what do you want it to look like? What are the boxes it checks off? But how does it feel? And so I was thinking of the feelings of this weekend and taking that in as like, I love Brittany's salt lamp. I have a salt lamp too. I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to like turn mine on and off. Mine's just on all the time because there are so many great benefits of the salt lamp, but it was like that visual beacon marker of that. But like, what does it feel like? Like, I know the feeling of burnout. I know the feeling of pushing too hard. I know what that feels like. And I know what it feels like to be in flow, although sometimes that can be a little uncomfortable. I know what it feels like. So I want to challenge myself to really take more moments to check in with my body of how I'm feeling. And part of what I need to do, what I desire to do, is be more out in nature and get away from the screen and get away from anything that allows me to be overly productive. Nature's a big thing for me. Water's a big deal. So those are, I think, those two things of like being aware of how it feels in my body. And then another big thing that this morning I'd known about tapping, I'd done tapping, but this morning, this was like next level beast mode tapping. Thank you, JJ. I didn't realize how much when I would tap, I would go through all the negative feelings, but then I was like, okay, let's turn it around. Here's how we do it. Let's go to the positive. So I think a way for me to allow more is to go deeper into the feelings until there's a release. I can mentally identify a problem and then, oh, let's go to the positive. I'll instantly go there where I'm like, ooh, I'm actually looking forward to when things are coming up. And I think in the past I tapped on a symptom, like, where today it was like, oh, I was telling Brittany, I'm like, oh, I realized the feeling underneath the symptom or the feeling linked to the outward problem, tapping on that and really going deep on it. So I'm excited to take that new tool back home and do that more with myself. And I think even just allowing myself the time to do that and not, oh, okay, let's do your 10-minute tapping and get it done. If that takes longer, whatever I need to go into, I think the releasing, that's something that it's going to be neat to see how that starts to become more of a practice for me. And I think it's going to be really opening me up to allow more and trusting the process, because I think so much of, as type A, even law of attraction can become like, oh, I follow the rules. I did it all this way. I did this. I'm doing everything I'm doing. And that's really that goes against it. And that's more of the resistance. And so for me, it was like, oh no, it actually really is just trusting that these things are falling, trusting everything's happening for a reason, trusting everything is working out for me, and doing my part of being able to sit in the uncomfortableness. We talked about some of the brain science part of actually what it is doing the one thing you're so avoiding doing. And so I've actually been doing that with myself more of like, what is the one thing you do not want to do? Do that. And then you realize, oh, that didn't kill me. I didn't die. I'm okay. And then it starts becoming easier. So I think kind of a tapestry of all of those lessons and applying those and making them as a gift to myself, not as, oh, I have to do this or something that I checked off, but like what is underneath this gift that I'm giving. It's giving myself time, and it's allowing myself to heal and process and just be in whatever that time looks like.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we tapped, Erin and I, today. It was one of those, I was getting ready to say, hey, on your next session, let's tap on this. And then we hit a chord that was so strong. I'm like, well, we're doing it right now. We're going to do it right now. And we're going to process this right now because it's ready. It's on this. It's ready and it's raw and it needs to come out. And I know some people, I don't tap or don't understand tapping or don't use it the way that it can be used. Again, I think kind of properly. But anyway, I'm going to teach it at the boot camp is the point, everybody. So I'm going to go through tapping. And, I was just envisioning one of the things I love when we used to go to Agape, Reverend Michael would talk about how there are spiritual practitioners in the room and holding the space. And I'm going to have spiritual practitioners holding the space for you guys in these guys. And I'm so excited to be able to say, hey, find an empowerment strategist if you need some help. Like, I'm not available to answer a question. Like, find one of them. Like, that's going to be so fun to feel like the team effort of if you feel stuck, that there are more than, obviously everyone who's going to be there. And again, the room will fill up and have a limit. So please don't wait till the last minute because you may not get a ticket. Don't think, oh, I'm going to buy a ticket in September. They may not be any tickets to buy in September. You can buy a virtual ticket up until the very last day, which means you just get the sessions as a course after it's over, a couple weeks after it's over. But to experience what we're talking about in terms of the power of the room and to be live with us, there is a limit on that because obviously I can't put 1 million people in a room. So I can only put like about 80 in a room, which isn't that much when all is said and done. So anyway, I'm just excited to hopefully share this on a bigger level with you guys. And I appreciate you guys for many things because obviously I keep growing. And for those of you that have been listening for a while, that's why you're still listening because you know that I'm on the path with you. This is not I'm all perfect and nothing is wrong with me. It's like, no, I'm exactly where you are in different ways. And we all have things to grow. And I'm just really trying to train you all to be mini-me so that I don't have to go to therapy so that you can all just do it for me and reflect it back to me because that's just way easier. But I do appreciate that you trust me enough to be here, not only in my home, but in my program and listening to this show and to share your experiences with other people. Because again, even though a lot of you may hear me and go, oh yeah, I really resonate with you, you hear other people differently and you hear their experiences and you may go, oh, but JJ, you're you. I've had that happen. Oh, but I'm not like you. And so it doesn't apply to me. I can't do what you did. But then when you hear other people who you may go, oh, I'm more like that person. I'm more like Patti, or maybe I'm more like Erin. I'm more like Brittany. Or any of the other empowerment strategists, Wendy and Libby and Emily and Krista, like you may have resonated with them. And I feel like I really resonate with that person. Well, they're going through the same thing too. And this is just sort of the journey. And why not do it with a group? Because it's so much better to feel supported with other humans going through this who can hold a space for you. So if you're someone who recognizes that you're not allowing things in, please join something, do something, get the help, get the support. If it's not through me, find somebody else. I don't really care. Just take action to ask for the support to pull you into and allow space for growth. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to happen in the same environment with the same people with the same energy. You can't do something over and over again expecting different results. All right? Because you're not insane, Erin.
Well, I just wanted to say, yeah, the collective energy, what happens is absolutely, you're totally right, Patti. It's magic and nothing else compares to it. And I just want to say, JJ, thank you it does feel like just 4 girlfriends hanging out. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're with our coach and she's above us. And, how many coaches are out there that are willing to be totally vulnerable of, I'm going through the same stuff. And I don't know, as someone who has listened to you for 6 years now, I think it's easy for those of you out there to think, oh, JJ is up here and this is, that's so maybe far from you. There's nothing like being with somebody who is willing to be vulnerable about where they're at in their life and the things they're going through while teaching others. And I just so appreciate you for doing that and showing up. Like every time I've been around you, you're the same person in any environment, whether you're on point, slaying podcasts and just watching you in your flow, whether you're in your kitchen, whether you're petting your cats, whether you're being cute and fun and flirty with Doug on polos, like you're the same person. And I so appreciate that. And so much of my life, it's like, oh, I'm kind of the odd one, or who else thinks like that? And it's so beautiful to be around all of you and to just be like, oh, we're the same. And we connect on that. And you can't get that through a podcast as great as it is. You can't get that through text. You can't get that through a webinar. There is like nothing comes close to that in personal and the connections. Like I feel like I've met seriously, term soul sister has gone to a completely different level through this group. So, yeah, you need to be there.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. All right. Any other things? And otherwise, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Those of you that are here and those of you that are listening and those of you that are still listening. And I say that tongue in cheek because as you grow and expand, not everyone's coming with you. So, and you have to be okay with that. You have to decide that your growth and expansion and who you are is the most important thing, and that you welcome and you yearn for like-minded connections, but you can't stay small and you can't stay stuck for other people's comfort. See you next week.